ready, set, go. I'm a psychology teacher. I don't know. Half of people, at least in Western society, have an insecure attachment. The family has been decimated in so many ways. Where do priests and pastors come from? Families. He drinks a lot, but he acts like he doesn't, or he looks at pornography, but he says he doesn't, but he does. My daughter's on the swim team, and she's gotten in her head suddenly, and she keeps messing up. My brain almost exploded, and they'll realize, he's manipulating me. I created it.
This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast.
Dana Nygaard, a licensed professional counselor, speaker, and relationship expert, transforms the lives of single Catholic women through her Miss to Mrs. from Single to Sacramental program, blending cognitive behavioral therapy, attachment theory, and Catholic spirituality to help women build faith-centered relationships. As the author of 365 Dates to Renew Your Christian Marriage and founder of the Cana Commandments Marriage Retreat, Dana equips individuals and couples with tools to foster resilient, joyful, and lasting relationships rooted in faith and love.
A quiet whisper in the night so near, stories of faith that draw you here. The words unfold like morning's glow, a place of truth where hearts will grow. A gentle breeze that turns the page, wisdom passed through every age. Come gather around and take your seat, the Christian Reader's tales complete. Step into the light where hope is found, voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian Reader calls to thee, a world of grace and harmony. Listen close as the story starts, a journey to uplift your heart. With every word and every line, a sacred space, a holy sign. The echoes rise from words divine, a touch of heaven every time. So join us now and let it be a place of faith eternally. The Christian Reader calls you near, a voice of comfort always clear. Together we'll walk this holy way, through stories that bless each day. Step into the light where hope is found, voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian Reader calls to thee, a hope is found, voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian Reader calls to thee, a warp is found, voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian Reader calls to thee, a world of grace and harmony.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Christian Readers Community. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you join us. I have with me an amazing lady. I know, of course, by now if you're used to my language, you definitely know I call all of them amazing. And yeah, I truly mean it. I mean it when I say so, because they are. When I interact with them behind the stage, I really see how amazing they are, and I can't help but to use that word. So it's not a cliche at this point. I'll just go on ahead and introduce to you my guest on the show. I have with me Dana Nygaard. Welcome to the show, Dana.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
You're welcome to the show, Dana.
Thank you.
How is it in Dallas by this time of the day? Talking about the weather.
Yeah, it's still pretty warm here. It's warm most of the about 6-7 months of the year. It's really hot. So I think today we were in the 90s. but it'll get over
Oh,
100 very, very soon.
oh wow, that's too hot.
It is. It's a lot, but I love Texas. So have you ever been to Texas?
No, no,
No. We don't
no.
all wear cowboy hats, but a lot of people do.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your cowboy boots.
Uh-huh.
You
Oh,
know,
cowboy
if you,
boots. If
yeah,
you're a
you have.
Texan, you have cowboy boots for sure in your closet, many pairs. Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
wow.
It's good to dance in because the bottom is smooth. And so we call the country western dancing boot scooting because you can scoot your feet easily. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should also add that you probably have a ranch.
No, I don't have a ranch. That would be super cool, but there are ranches in the area and you'll drive by and they'll have, cattle, they'll have llamas, like where the llamas come from, but we'll have llamas. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of horse farms.
Hmm. Mm. You see, I was almost there, you know. So, but don't worry. I know it's not all Texans that has a ranch, so I was just throwing that one in.
There's not enough
Any-
space for everyone to have their own. A lot of like Dallas is very cosmopolitan, so a lot of
Oh,
businesses, skyscrapers, but I live in a suburb called Plano.
oh, okay. I haven't actually heard that place, but
Mhm.
don't worry. Later you tell me more.
Okay,
So nice to have you on the show. Welcome, Dana.
thank you.
Let's start, talking about you, your journey. How did you go into professional counseling?
Well, I began my career as a teacher, so secondary teacher, which in the United States is 6th through 12th grade. And my favorite subject that I taught was psychology. And it was in
Oh,
teaching it that I realized I had pretty much done all the teaching I was going to do. I have many of my former students who now are therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists who went into the field, which makes me excited. But there was a time when I think God made it clear that I was going to take that next step. And so I went to my adorable husband, David, and I said, I want to go to graduate school and become a counselor. And he said, what do we have to do to make that happen? And so I worked full time as a teacher, went to grad school, and became a therapist. And in the United States, before you can be independent on your own, it's roughly 5 years. It's 3 years of schooling, and then it's about 18 months to 2 years of meeting and practicing your therapy while being supervised. And then once you do all the hours that are required, you've taken the test, and your supervisor has said, you're good, you can do this, then you can become licensed in your state.
hmm. Okay. What inspired you to go into counseling?
Well, what was so interesting is, and I don't believe in coincidences, so I really think God had his hand in it. The parents of the students who were athletes at our school, and that the parents wanted them to be able to go to college on scholarships for being athletes, they would come to me and they would say, my daughter's on the swim team and she's gotten in her head suddenly and she keeps messing up. It's because of all the stuff in her head. What do I do? And I would look at them like I'm a psychology teacher. I don't know. And so I would simply say to them, the book says. So I would refer to our textbook and I would explain to them, this is what sports psychologists say to do. So then I would repeat that information to them, letting them know where it came from. It wasn't from me. And then they would tell other parents, and then other parents would come and see me and ask the same thing about their daughter. There was one where her daughter was an equestrian. She rode horses, and suddenly she couldn't do the jumps with her horses because she got afraid. And
Oh
same
my.
thing, what do I do? And I'm like, this is what the book says. And it worked. And I realized the power of using what I'd been teaching. What could we actually do with it in our lives, but like I was seeing it happen in front of me in such a profound way. And that was part of what got me wanting to be a counselor, or my students and the parents.
How long have you been licensed?
Since 2013. Well, I
Oh,
graduated
that's a
in
long time.
2013, and then it took roughly 18 months after that. So, but I've been seeing clients since really 2012, because you start seeing clients before you graduate. They're called practicums. And then you You go in and you tell your professors about it, and you show them videos, and you're very careful. You don't use people's, actual given names. And then as soon as you're done with these recordings, we used to put them on CDs, and then the professor would destroy them in front of everyone so that nobody could get this private session. But we'd be graded on the questions we asked, our body language, were we rolling our eyes, all those things. And if we didn't meet the standards of what the university wanted and what the professor wanted, you could have spent tens of thousands of dollars and they would not allow you to take the national counseling exam. So it's a big deal when they let you take the exam.
Oh,
It's a lot of work.
wow.
It's
Yeah,
expensive.
it is.
Very expensive, yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually didn't say this before we started recording, but I'm almost totally blind. So I'm like 95%, 90%, 95% blind. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I see other blind students, the ones I know in the United States,
Mhm.
and they tell me that they're studying psychology. And I'm like, how can a blind person study psychology? Hearing it from you, saying that it's a lot of work, I wonder how it would be for them. Do they get to practice, or do they just take their certificates and do something else? It's just wonderful.
I think they would use Braille for the textbooks and for the
Yeah,
exams, right? In the exams, they
yeah.
have to be accommodated. It doesn't matter if you can't hear or see or whatever, they have to accommodate them. So I personally have never met a therapist who had vision issues, but I'm sure that's a thing. But they probably get a lot of support, I would think, to have somebody maybe with them to help. But really, you could, I think, blindfold me and I could still hear like the pain in someone's voice or the joy.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
have to necessarily see them, even though it is nice. Yeah, because the Holy Spirit just helps us to communicate, I think.
True. Actually, because it's actually scientifically proven that when you lost the function of one of your five senses, the other four, becomes automatically enhanced to make up for the other one. So I just hope it's so for them. Yeah. But
I bet it is.
yeah. But I think I would rather do something simpler than, like this interview than Thank you, Dana. I had to ask all these questions so that our listeners would, get to hear about your background in psychology and how you've been doing this for 12 years now, or should I say 13, since you started back in 2012. And let's not talk about, other experiences you had with your students. So you wrote this wonderful book.
365 dates to renew your Christian marriage, and there's a Catholic edition and then a non-Catholic Christian edition, because every Catholic is a Christian, not every Christian is a Catholic, but it's too many words to say non-Catholic Christian. So that's why. And there are 99% identical. There's just a few words, maybe a little bit of vocabulary is different. The prayers are based on different scriptures. And there's one question I had about a pope in the Catholic one that is not in the non-Catholic one. Otherwise, it's the same premise in all of them.
Tell us about the book.
Yes. So what came to me is my husband and I were traveling. We like to antique and go look at vintage goods and things and drive around the country doing so. And I had purchased a couple of just generic books for couples to use to ask each other questions on one of these long road trips. And some questions were fun, some were interesting, but some were absolutely non-Christian. I mean, anti-Christian, really inappropriate. And so what I said to my husband was, we need a book that is safe for Catholic couples, for Christian couples. And so I started researching, and there wasn't a book, at least not in the Catholic world, that was available. So I created it, and there's over 1,000 questions in it. And it's set up, you could do one date a week. If you want, you could do one date a day. You could do it on antiquing road trips like my husband and I do. We use it in the car. but every date has 3 questions. And the format is ready, set, go. So before, like while you're getting ready for your date, the woman has a prayer to pray, the husband has one, and then before they walk out the door, maybe to go get in their car, then they pray a prayer together. So they're really inviting in the Holy Spirit into this. Then maybe they're driving to the destination. The first question, the ready one, is a warm-up question. It just gets them talking, and you're having dinner, and you can talk about the question, but you won't be embarrassed if maybe someone around you hears you. Then maybe the last one you could do at home, maybe sitting outside if you have a porch or a patio, and you can go deeper. And then all the questions for the beginning of the book, all the way to the end, they get deeper and deeper every single date. So it builds spiritual and emotional intimacy between husband and wife, and in a fun way.
So you have a couple, because your book title says 365 days to renew your Christian marriage. Now you have a couple who their marriage is almost hitting the rocks, and everybody is just waiting for that dreadful day when one of them will say, "I want a divorce." Is this book going to be good for them?
I think it would be good for them. I don't think, though, it's going to save the marriage. They really need to go get help from their pastor, their priest. We have something in the United States. I'm not sure if it's gone over to your country or not yet. It's called Retrovi, and it is a weekend retreat for couples who are on the brink of divorce. So I think they need something more than it. But if the couple realizes that they're starting to get off track and having more and more problems, I do think the book can help, but it's not a save your marriage book. It's how to get closer to each other.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to ask the kind of couples that you think should pick up this book.
I think anyone, if you are dating someone seriously, it has a few questions you'd have to skip because they may talk about your physical intimacy, and as Christians, we're not supposed to be physically intimate until after we're married. But a lot of the questions could really help the couple to know each other better, and then to make sure, are they truly compatible? Because love is not enough. They need to be compatible. And then for newlyweds, people who have just gotten married, a lot of times people will come up to me when I'm at an event and I'm signing books, and they'll want 3 or 4 of them. And they'll say, "Oh, I'm giving these out as Christmas presents to my family," or "I'm getting one for each of our children who are married." And what's interesting is when I first had the book, before it was actually published, I sent review copies out to people who had been married every amount of time you can imagine, up to 50 plus years. And what I thought is, okay, maybe the people who have been married not as long would be like, "Oh, Dana, it was great." But I thought, I don't know, maybe these people have been married a long time. What if they say, "Dana, thank you, but no, honey, like we've already discussed all that." Every single person said, "We had the best conversations. We talk all the time. And there were topics in your book we had never discussed before." So that's when I knew God he really was my co-creator in writing it, that it was something pleasing to God when I got such good feedback.
Oh, this is beautiful. And it's so wonderful that you took out the time to write this book. So it's fair to say this book would help, couples to, I'm trying to find the right words, steam up their marriages, right?
It could, and it's not so much about, like, even though there are questions about their physical intimacy.
Or refresh.
Yes, refresh.
Oh,
refresh.
okay.
It's not like a sexy book. But
No.
Yeah,
I actually wasn't saying it in that term. That's what I'm saying. That I'm trying to find the right words. Pardon me, I'm still single.
Well, I think what it does is when a couple feels close to each other and they've shared knowledge of, like, some of the questions are about the marriage itself. Some of them are about childhood, things that went on, good, bad, sad, all the things. Some are about the future. Some are about dreams and goals and hopes. And some are just about topics in general. So I think the more they know each other, that's going to make them feel closer. And then that is what helps that little spark get back in the marriage, I think. Because sometimes we get really busy and it's very easy to talk about, we need a new roof. Is it going to rain this weekend? We need to take our kid to a football game. But this helps a couple to focus on their marriage in the Catholic faith. That's what we call the domestic church, like your little family. And family is where do priests and pastors come from? Families, right?
Yeah.
So we have to keep the family strong. And at least in our country, the family has been decimated in so many ways. And so we have to get back to what the Bible says about marriage.
Oh, so if someone wants to get a copy of this book, where would they be able to do that?
So if they go to my website, DanaNygaard.com, so DanaNygaard.com, they can just click on the book link and it will take them to where they can order it. They can also just go to Amazon and put in the title of the book, 365 Dates to Renew Your Christian Marriage. The red cover is the non-Catholic Christian one. The purple is the Catholic one. That website is all about my speaking engagements, my book. I've started a new program for single Catholic women to help them to pick a good guy when they get married. That's about to be on there. And then that also takes people to my counseling website, but that's only for people in Texas. But I mean, if anyone wants to look at it, they're both linked, so they can go to either one.
Okay, so send me all your links so that I'll attach it to the description section of this of this episode. So, wow, thank you, Dana. I've had a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is a blessing that anytime I get to speak with a fellow Christian and talk about faith and love and marriage, I'm very happy, and you've been delightful, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi, everyone. I've had a wonderful conversation with Dana. So do get a copy of her book on Amazon or go to her website and you see all you need to know. I was reading her biography and I was very impressed and I was reading how God had helped her to change a lot of single ladies from Miss to Mrs. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna sign up.
Well, it's so sad because, like you mentioned earlier, the divorces, right? I want to help lower the divorce rate. And so many times women, and it's the same for men, they sometimes pick women that are not good for them. It's just God has put on my heart to speak to women. But too many women that I know are marrying men that are not good for them. And then it's not good for the man because then he continues in his bad ways. And how is he going to get to heaven? And that's the goal, is for us all to get to heaven. So that's why I have that group. It's an online program.
Yeah, what do you think is the cause? I'm just asking this question.
Of divorce?
Yeah. Of ladies getting married. Yeah, getting married to people who are not good for them. Is it that they didn't see it coming, they didn't see the signs when they were dating, or why?
No.
What's
I don't think that's it.
Okay.
I think that there's a ton of research on this. The way our parents or whoever raised us, the way they attach to us, like, were they involved? Did they pay attention to us? Did they love us? Did they discipline us in a good, loving way? If they do that in a healthy way, we're going to have a secure attachment. And then we take that secure attachment from our parents, and then we apply it to friends and then to romantic partners and spouses. But roughly half of people, at least in Western society, have an insecure attachment. Mommy and daddy paid too much attention to them, or they didn't pay enough attention to them. And so they're wounded. And because they're so emotionally wounded, they attract other people who are emotionally wounded. So it's either two wounded people coming together, or it's that, but one of them is malicious and wants to use the other person. So I think there's been a big spike in narcissism, which is that disease of self-love, like to an unhealthy degree, like, oh, I'm perfect and everyone else is terrible. And they lack empathy. So they don't have the same emotions that we have. And so they just want to use people. And so many women would come to me in my private practice and say, he opens car doors for me. He brings me flowers. Great. And then in the next breath, they would say, but the other day he called me a very bad word.
Wow.
And then they would just keep talking like no big deal. And I would be like, wait, what? That's emotional abuse or verbal abuse, or he shoved me or he choked me. And when I would point out that was unhealthy, they would get very defensive and they'd say, no, you don't understand. He's a really, and they all said the same thing, like they went to school to learn it. They would say, he's a good guy. Okay, but good guys don't behave that way. So I would have to help them
That's
to
the
understand.
problem.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Yeah. And so like they'll date men and he'll say he'll do something, but then he doesn't. And I don't mean like he had a headache, but like he just says yes, but he never does anything. Or he drinks a lot, but he acts like he doesn't. Or he looks at pornography, but he says he doesn't, but he does. So there's so much lying. And so I think most of the time the women see it, but they just want to shove it down and they want to act like it's not there because he brings me flowers. He opens car doors. My mother loves him. And so in their brain, they check off what we call a confirmation bias, which means he is who I say he is. But even when there's new evidence that says, he's not who you think he is, they will ignore it. And it's a psychological problem. So I teach the women, how do you go from insecure to secure? And how do you recognize? So here would be a simple tip. If you are confused by this person, they're saying a lot of words and you're thinking, what? And it's not because they're saying something really smart that you don't maybe know about, you haven't studied it. No, when what they're saying, their reason for doing something or not doing something is confusing to you and it doesn't make sense and you're like, what? You are being lied to or manipulated. And once I teach them, this is what it looks like, then they report to me, oh my gosh, Dana, I was talking to this guy I met. He said, blah, blah, blah. And they'll say, like, my brain almost exploded. And they'll realize, he's manipulating me. And then they break up quickly versus, I spent time with him. I thought he would get better. I'm like, no. And the same stuff works for men. It's almost identical. It's just God has put on my heart to work with women. But it's the same for men.
Oh, beautiful. You said a lot of things that I would have loved to ask you questions about them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess I'll have to bring you back next time so that we could explore more.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You let me know and we'll make it happen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Our listeners should be expecting something from Dana very soon. So everyone, thank you for listening. Please do visit Dana's website. You'll see everything you need to know about her. Even her social media handles, if you'd like to follow her on those platforms as well. And you can also pick up a copy of her book from Amazon. You can check out the links at the description section so that it will just take you directly to her website or to her page on Amazon. Thank you for listening once again. And until I come your way again next time, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed.
Quiet whisper in the night so near. Stories of faith that draw you here. The words unfold like morning's glow. A place of truth where hearts will grow. A gentle breeze that turns the page. Wisdom passed through every age. Come gather around and take your seat. The Christian reader's tale's complete. Step into the light where hope is found. Voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian reader calls to lead a world of grace and harmony. Listen close as the story starts. A journey to uplift your heart. With every word and every line, a sacred space, a holy sign. The echoes rise from words divine, a touch of heaven every time. So join us now and let it be a place of faith eternally. The Christian reader calls you near, a voice of comfort always clear. Together we'll walk this holy way, through stories that bless each day. Step into the light where hope is found. Voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian reader calls to thee, oh, hope is found. Voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian reader calls to thee, a warp is found. Voices of love with a peaceful sound. The Christian reader calls to thee, a world of grace and harmony.